The next speaker is the Honorable Anil Nandlall. You have the floor, sir.
Yes, Anil.
Thank you very much, sir.
Legal issues.
Sir, I rise to make my contribution to this debate, to the motion that is before the House. And I want to begin, sir, by reflecting on the very sober presentation by the Honorable Minister. Very calm, very collect, very slow and deliberate in his presentation. And at the end of it, I am not sure where he stands in the motion. Because I listened to him, I left for a brief period, I returned, because he begins by recognizing the industry. At least he departs from His Excellency the President, because he recognizes the state of the industry, he recognizes the problems that the industry is in. Elsewhere, statements come from the government that suggest the opposite, that there is no real problem in the industry. Some of them even say that the industry is not government's business. Very unfortunate phrase. I believe, in all fairness, they have come to regret making such, I don't want to say facetious, but uninformed remark. But I believe that the Honorable Minister was very appreciative of the magnitude of the rice industry, its impact on the way of life of the Guyanese people, its impact on our foreign exchange, its impact on job creation in our country, its impact on foreign exchange, its impact on the economy, and its impact on the entire social and economic fabric of our country, because he alluded to all of that. And then falls short in his presentation of giving support to the resolutions which the motion calls for. And sir, when this motion was crafted, there was a deliberate effort to come up with resolutions and solutions and recommendations that are not going to be extraordinary burden on the Treasury. There was a deliberate effort when these recommendations were made to ensure that we will not interfere with the Minister of Finance budget, that all of these can be accommodated with very, very minuscule, if any, budgetary adjustments. And that is why, sir, I am absolutely disappointed that I did not hear from the Honorable Minister of Agriculture that he embraces these recommendations. Because, sir, you have an industry that is in crisis. I don't think anyone can think rationally otherwise. Every part of this country you go where there are rice farmers and rice is being planted, there is social and economic chaos. Essequibo, Region 2, Region 3, Region 5, and Region 6. And one thing is common in those regions. It is the rice industry and the heavy dependency on the regional economy and the village economy of those regions on the rice industry. And because of the nature of our society, sir, all the industries are interconnected. So the rice farmers' money positively affects, lack of money negatively affects the cash crop farmer and the rum shop owner and the market vendor And that is how the village economy is intertwined. So when you have the bulk of it coming from the rice industry and that sector is stagnating, then, sir, you could imagine what happens. And that is why, sir, my learned friend, the Honorable Priya Manik Chan, spoke about the judiciary being inundated with claims against rice farmers for monies outstanding. My learned friend spoke about 10 matters, but there were much more than 10. I had about 10, where I represent millers on the one hand, in some, and farmers on the other hand. Millers are suing farmers because advance payments were made for fertilizers given, fuel given, and when the rice is reaped, it's supposed to be sent to the factory to be milled. But there is no yield. There is no yield. Flooding affecting on the one side, pesticide affecting on the other side. There is drought on the other hand, and then, sir, you have no market whenever there is a yield. So you have that drop, massive drop in production. And the farmers themselves are indebted, the millers themselves are indebted to the bank. Many of them run their business operations on an overdraft, paying an interest rate of 17 and 18% per annum. And that is the money that they lend to farmers in the form of advance payment. And the entire relationship collapses when you can't have market and the rice industry is in the state that it is. And then you have, sir, the farmers, and we have a culture in this country of overcapitalizing. Every farmer wants to own his own tractor, his own plow, his own combine, and they owe Massey Industries, they owe Nazruddin Mohammed, they owe all the people that sell these things. And you have a whole line of cases of these suppliers and sellers of these heavy-duty equipment repossessing and taking rice farmers to court for their money. And then, sir, you have the smaller rice farmers who owe IPED. And there is a long line, especially in Berbice. I was talking to my learned friend Adrian Anamaya, and in Essequibo as well. So in the commercial court of the country, in all three of the counties, litigation in relation to the rice industry predominates in all the courts. So that is the state. And, sir, there is a connection between the state of the rice industry and social problems, not necessarily caused, but compounded and engendered by the state of the rice industry. Suicide is one. In certain communities, it is an outright shame when you cannot pay your light bill. When GPL visits you to disconnect your light bill in the presence of your community. When you can't afford to send your children to school or to send them to social events in the village to which they are accustomed to going and to which the village is accustomed to see them going. And when these things happen, sir, we have not a very exposed population, and we don't have the necessary institutions to offer the social services that are required when people are faced with these problems. I have a case, for example, ongoing in the High Court. When the writ was served by the bank on the family, there's a grandmother, grandfather, their property has been mortgaged to the bank. The son and daughter-in-law operates the business now. When the writ was served, the old man, the grandfather, collapsed with a heart attack and he died. The grandmother doesn't know that the bank is attempting to repossess the property. That is the kind of ordeal that people are going through in the rice industry, sir. So, I do not, the problem is so huge. I don't think, sir, that this government is showing the type of commitment by actions that we heard from the words of the minister. As I said, the minister gave a very polished presentation. All the right language was used to convey the impression that the government is committed to address the issues in the rice industry. But the actions are absent to support that. Because why? Why would the Minister of Finance in the 2015 budget remove VAT exemption from agriculture equipment? 2016 budget. Why? Why would he remove VAT when otherwise the rice farmers for over 25 years, over 25 years rice farmers were given tax-free for their equipment. This year, 2016, is the first time that they are paying some form of tax in the form of VAT. When the VAT regime was introduced in 2007, immediately with it came an exemption regime. Whereas once the farmer, once it is certified that somebody is a rice farmer, they qualify for exemption. Same thing with mining, same thing in the logging industry. Because it was recognized 2-3 decades ago that this kind of support is required. Today, the rice farmer has to pay VAT on his combine. He has to pay VAT on his plow. He has to pay VAT on his tractor. And these are not inexpensive equipment, sir. This is not an alien that you buy for $2.1 million. A tractor is $8 and $9 million. So when you have to pay VAT on that, it's a huge sum of money. So, the Honorable Minister, I am sorry I can't believe that your government is committed. Because here it is, that your government, for no reason at all, removes VAT exemption. And then you want us to believe, and you want the rice farmers to believe, that you care for them. Why do you repossess? Why do you, and I dare say unlawfully, repossess rice lands from rice farmers under the MMA scheme? I know that there is a need for more land. If there is a need for more land, sir, we have enough land for every rice farmer. Why do you want to repossess from rice farmers who have been given 50-year-old leases? Their leases are being revoked, throwing them into deeper economic turmoil. These are rice farmers with their leases, sir. And their leases are being revoked. Not for non-payment of rent. Not for non-payment of rent. For a wholly extraneous reason. Wholly extraneous reason. Why? How can we on this side go back and tell our supporters that, you know what? Give the government a chance. They are committed when they do things like this. Unsolicited. Unprovoked. Why, sir, will you not want to waive rents for state lands? What cost? What would that cost the treasury compared to the destruction of a rice farmer entire yield or his entire business? Why? We are asking to remove taxes and duties. And sir, You know, this is the APNU AFC action plan for the first 100 days. This is what they planned. This is what they promised. They went to the electorate. They have here number 3. Immediately implement a phased reduction of VAT. As it relates to the rice industry, there is an imposition of VAT. There is no phased or any reduction. There is an imposition of VAT. So the opposite of this promise is delivered for the purpose of rice farm.
Evil.
Why would you want to do that?
Dishonest and evil.
Change circumstances. The Honorable Minister of Public Security is saying change circumstances.
Shameless. Shameless.
This, sir, is an advertisement that was published in the newspapers. It says this: reduce VAT again for the rice farmer. Their VAT has been increased. Then you have here, negotiate new international markets for rice.
Yeah, shameless.
Negotiate
Not one
new
single
international
one, and you listen
markets
because
for
you're
rice.
compliment.
And this was at a time when we had the Venezuelan market.
Shameless people.
Waive duty and fuel.
All this promise, man.
These are the promises. And this is when we had the Venezuelan market. And they were promising us additional international market. They lost the Venezuelan market and there is no other new market since.
Shame, shame, shame.
That is the state of the industry.
Shame. Shame. And then punish the farmers with a 16%. And then you say you don't have political
Sir,
discrimination. Well, I don't know what other kind it is.
Then we are asking, and the Honorable Minister of Agriculture has agreed and has promised us in this House that steps will be taken to initiate negotiations with the bank, as we had done on 2 previous occasions, to readjust loans and to soften interest and to rearrange payments. We did it twice for the rice industry. So I welcome the promise, Mr. Minister. But I believe, sir, with the greatest of respect, the promise lacks bona fides. Because we made this suggestion since the 31st of October 2015 in a letter to the Minister. 31st of October 2015, we are in the 5th month of this year, 5 months of this year, and 3 months of last year, 8 months. And the minister comes here 8 months after and says, it's a good proposal, we are going to do it. But he doesn't start a single step in that direction
And
as yet.
if we
How can we believe him, sir? How can we believe you, Mr. Minister? How can I go back on the television in Barbies and tell the rice farmers that you are speaking as though you have their interest at heart, when after 8 months, you have not begun a single step in the direction of doing something that you agree is a good thing to be done.
That's what he said. You have to let them road.
And then, sir, we ask for the suspension of land leases and drainage and irrigation charges. In the national scheme of things, sir, these are very, very flippant sums of money, trivial sums of money. But when compared, sir, to the life of a rice farmer, it is an expenditure, if it is waived, can have great positive implications. And then, sir, we have to set up a system that will offer financial support for the farmers to aid in the purchase of seed paddy and fertilizer. I saw today in the newspapers the president of the Rice Producers Association lamenting the decrease in acreage that will go under cultivation for this crop. Far less. The Honorable Comrade Irfan Ali spoke to the fact that not a single acre is being cultivated in the island of Leguan. Not a single acre in an island where you have a mill or 2 mills at one time. 5,000 acres last crop, reduced to 0 this crop.
Not.
And the Honorable Minister of Agriculture told us how important
So tell us how much is being
the rice industry is. In fact, he makes a fundamental point that rice has surpassed sugar as a foreign exchange earner of our country.
And no incentive.
And the large number of communities and persons who benefit from the rice industry. That is why I am so disappointed in the Honorable Minister, because I believe in his speech he recognizes the implication and importance that the rice industry holds for the country. So, sir, these are measures that we are recommending that will not have any great impact on the budget of this country. When I look at the 2 billion that is being spent on Durban Park, while Independence Jubilee celebration is important. It's important. 50th year, sir. I hope I get there. It is a milestone that I myself will celebrate when I reach it. But there is a limit, sir. There is a limit. I will not allow my roof to leak. I will not allow my pantry to go empty so that I can have a grand celebration.
Yeah.
Good point, good point, good point.
And that's all of you are asking.
Why not?
Don't you want the rice farmers to celebrate with you? Mr. Ramjatan already told them on the quarantine that he can't see them until after he finished gyrating at the Jubilee celebration. Not gyrating. I withdraw that. I withdraw that.
Celebrating.
He said he will not meet them until the celebrations are finished.
You're done?
So, sir, these, and I see my friend from the Rice Development Board, and they have a role to play. But they begun on the wrong foot. They begun by attempting to ostracize the largest representative organization in the country representing rice farmers. The law of this country says that they have to put on their board nominees from the rice farmers. Nominees from the Rice Farmers Association. What did they do? What did they do? They disregard the RPA and they chose someone that they feel could represent the rice farmers. Parliament in its wisdom said, no, we don't want that to happen. We want the farmers to select their own representatives. But the board, because obviously, I don't know why, what other considerations they are driven by, but that is their approach. That is their approach. And that is why, sir, they are in the middle of a controversy with an agreement with Jamaica. The rice farmers are not consulted. The Rice Farmers Association representatives are not consulted, but they have given a monopoly over a 3-year period to a Jamaican company for the exportation of Guyana rice at a fixed price. And this is a deal that nobody knows about. No consultation. It is leaked. I am aware that the RPA President, General Secretary has asked the chairman of the board for a copy of that agreement so that he can take it to the rice farmers. And my last information up to about a week ago is that the agreement has not yet been sent. They are refusing because a request was made over 2 months or 3 months before. Why is the rice board behaving like that? The rice board should be an organization that's regulating and regulatory. Regulate the industry in the best interest of the industry. Don't get involved in partisan politics and matters that are extraneous to the rice industry. So, sir, getting back to the motion, I want to conclude, sir, by appealing to this House to give its full support to this motion. As I said, the resolve clauses, the recommendations that we are making, and the President was here, sir, and he spoke about building political bridges, and spoke about working together, and spoke about every one of us has a role to play in the development of our country. Well, we are asking to play this role. Just accept our recommendation.
Yeah.
That is all. It will not cost the Treasury anything. We represent, sir, a large number of people in this country. My friend is saying 200,000. I believe the elections were rigged. We represent more people. We shouldn't even be here, but as another matter. So, sir, I am saying to the government that we appreciate the fact that the minister recognizes the importance of the industry. We welcome that fact because we were in doubt about it before. But the industry is important, and we are making some recommendations here, sir, that will not adversely affect the budget of this country. And we are asking, sir, these recommendations are in the best interest of the rice farmers, and we are asking that this House unanimously support this motion. Thank you very much.
Good, man.